I read Nestlings by Nat Cassidy, and I want to talk about it. So, Nestling tells the story of a young couple, Reed and Anna, and their newborn child. And they seem to be kind of struggling. They're not super well off. And they apparently had entered some raffle to potentially get a spot in some upscale apartment building in New York called the Deptford. And wouldn't you know it, after their child was born, they were selected. So we follow them as they move into this new apartment building. And after they move in, they start to notice things are a little weird, and it starts to seem like maybe the apartment isn't as great as they originally thought it was. So that's kind of my spoiler free review. There's not a whole lot more there that I can address. I didn't think it was overly scary. I didn't particularly care for the characters a whole lot. I mean, it was okay, I guess, but I felt like there were a lot of sort of just dropped subplots that just never got addressed. I didn't particularly care for the ending. This unfortunately was not one of my favorite reads of 2025. But that's about as much as I can say spoiler free. But I am going to go into some pretty big spoilers. So if you haven't read this yet and you're interested in reading it, now would be your time to click away. If you've read it and you want to hear what I have to say, stick around. And if you liked it, I don't know, some of what I say might change your opinion a little bit. So I'll start off by saying I didn't particularly love the way they addressed the monsters that were in the Deptford. Apparently they were some form of vampire. I mean, it was alluded to. They were sort of referenced, like, are they vampires? Are you vampires? I don't know if that was ever nailed down. I thought the idea that they turn, when they get old, they sort of shrivel and turn into gargoyles. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting idea, but it also seems just a little too out there for me. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way it was presented that didn't quite click. But I didn't love that. Both Anna and Reed are both pretty unlikable characters. Now, I can sympathize, right? So Anna, however you want to pronounce it, we'll talk about that too. She had a complication during pregnancy and she ended up being paralyzed from the waist down. That is very unfortunate, and I can understand she's having resentment around that. On top of the postpartum depression that so many women go through, I can really get behind her feelings, her not being the happiest character. Reed feeling like he has to handle everything on his own, doesn't love his job. It's a lot of stress dealing with the newborn, dealing with Anna, dealing with her issues, and doing extra work because she's crippled. I get all that. But that doesn't make the characters likable, and nothing about them really improves throughout the story. So just from that, they're not the most likable characters, and I had a hard time caring what was happening to either one of them, if I'm being honest. But then we start getting into when things actually start picking up. The first, I don't know, like third of this book was pretty boring. Just two depressed people talking about moving into an apartment building. But then Georgia comes in. And if you read, you know, Georgia was like her personal trainer, trying to get her motivated to work on things, to try and rehabilitate her legs if possible. And she's been coming to the Deptford a few times, and she knew Anna from like a gym or wherever they used to work out. So I assume there were people that knew she was coming to the Deptford to work with Anna. I'm assuming that is the case. But then when Georgia disappears, you just don't hear about it anymore. Like, Anna tries to text her a couple times, like, oh, I guess she's not talking to me. Nobody reached out to say, hey, Georgia was coming to see you. She never came back to the gym. Do you know what happened? Once Anna started figuring out that this apartment building was weird, she never thought, oh shit, Georgia disappeared. I wonder if she's okay. Nope, just dropped. She gets taken and nobody cares. Never heard from again. Great. Just drop that subplot. When they have her first birthday party, and Charlie attacks Elliot. I think his name was Elliot. What happened to Elliot? The mom calls her one time and is like, hey, your kid attacked my kid and now my kid's sick. And she gets mad at her and hangs up. Did the kid live? Did that just go away? Why wasn't that addressed? Like, the cops never came to say, hey, what happened? Your kid attacked this lady's kid at a birthday party and you got some splaining to do. Like, nope, nothing. Just, you don't hear about it anymore. And then what about who was it at the party? I don't remember. I read it like a week ago and I took too long to do the review, so I don't remember the name. But one of Anna's coworkers, or like the author of the story she was reading, or a friend, or somebody was at that birthday party that was just one of Anna's associates, saw Charlie attack Elliot. What happened there? Was she freaked out? Did they ever talk again? Did that friend tell anyone else what happened? Nope, just drop that thread. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Weird things happen, just forget about it. Just forget you read it. It doesn't matter. It's not important to the story. So I have a lot of issues with that. I would have liked some more follow-up there. On top of the fact that, aside from those few things, like, there's not a lot that happens here. I didn't feel a lot of tension most of the time. Nothing about it really scared me a whole lot. And following those plots through, those subplots, could have added a lot of tension and a lot of horror. It could have really filled out this story, and they're just forgot about. So then we get to the end, and Reed tells Anna that, oh, we could join them. They'll let us stay with them. Charlie's gonna be great, and Anna's having none of it and kills Reed. Fine. Then she makes her way to the basement, and this got on my nerves. When Reed first went down to the basement and saw the trash pile, he saw Georgia's exercise equipment that was down there, the walker and her equipment bag. When Anna went down and saw that same trash pile, she saw the bag of dirt, that special dirt. I forget what kind of dirt it is, but didn't see Georgia's stuff. Why did Reed see the stuff and she didn't? Don't understand. That, I mean, even if nothing came of it, just her seeing that could have been like a realization of what happened to Georgia and sparked some more like emotion in this book. But nope, that didn't happen. After she realizes what's going on, she decides to leave her kid there. That just seems insane to me. It seems insane to me. Who would do that? But even if you're going to do that, why did she attack the big flesh queen monster then? I mean, she obviously didn't kill him because, well, what was the point of even attacking it? Why didn't she just stay? Why didn't she get her legs fixed? If she was going to let her kid there, she wasn't going to tell anybody, and she wasn't going to kill the monsters, why not get the benefit of having your legs restored? What about guilt over killing Reed? He's the one that said, just let him have her. It's too late. At least she can be happy and we can be in our lives. And she killed him for that. But then she decides to let the kid stay there. And she's never like, what did I do? What did I do to Reed? How could I do that? Nope. She just, 5 years later, she just seems fine. She's free from Reed. She doesn't have to worry about her kid anymore, so that stress is gone. She's not even accepted. She's embraced the mobility she gets from her wheelchair. So she's just fine. Her family moves into this luxury hotel that apparently a bunch of people in the city know is weird and cursed and won't even enter, but they've never heard of it, and there are no books written about it. There's no information on it anywhere. Does that feel realistic? How a lot of the city could know that there's something wrong with this place, but they, being in the city for a large portion of their lives, just know nothing about it. That seemed really off to me. And then there's Frank. What was the point of Frank's character? So Frank was their landlord from their previous spot before they moved into the Deptford, and they kind of left him out to dry, and I get that. So if the point of Frank was just to sort of showcase that, oh, Reed and Anna aren't the people you might think they are based on the beginning of the book, I could get that. But he didn't need to be in the whole thing. Like all those other dropped subplots, but Frank gets a conclusion. Why? What did that add to the story? I don't understand it. And even if you want to say, well, at the end she used his hammer, maybe, but she didn't need it because she had that symbol thing that she was using that was sharp. she took that with her into the basement. So they didn't need the hammer to have that scene play out the way it did. They didn't need his body to show that, oh, they kill people. They could have used Georgia for that, but they didn't. Georgia's just forgotten about. So I don't understand. That's at least 3 just sort of forgotten about subplots that they didn't utilize that I think would have made the story better. I think needed to have some kind of resolution. Frank didn't even need to be in the story, but he was. He was abrasive and unnecessary, and as far as I can tell, really added nothing. And then the ending didn't make any sense to me. I mean, I just have a lot of issues, a lot of issues with this story. Now, I feel like I've been pretty harsh and pretty critical. All those things being said, the writing is fine. I mean, Nat Cassidy obviously has talent as a writer, and I'm still going to read more of his work. Like, maybe this one just didn't click for me. Maybe other people don't care about these things as much as I did. So, I'm not writing off the author. I'm not saying like don't read any of his stuff. I'm not even saying don't read this. If it sounds interesting, yeah, check it out. Go for it. But those are kind of my gripes. I would give this maybe like a, I don't know, 2.5 out of 5 stars. It's not insufferable. Like, it reads fine. The writing is fine. The characterization is fine. Like, I felt like I knew these characters somewhat. That's fine. But I didn't really feel like they had much of an arc. They didn't seem to grow a whole lot except for Anna. Oh, I wanted to touch on that too. At the end of the story, when they call her Anna and she says, "My name's Anna," and she gets all mad about the pronunciation, but it's the only time in the book that's referenced. Why does she blow up about it when she does? I don't get it. I don't get it. So, a lot of people seem to really like this book on Goodreads, and on my book talk people that I see all have a lot of praise for this book. It didn't click for me, obviously. I finished it. It wasn't a DNF, so it wasn't terrible. Like, it's not that what's here is bad. It just feels to me like it's unfinished. It was underdeveloped, and it could have used more. And it was only like less than 300 pages. It's not a long read. It's not a hard read. I think it could have used some fleshing out. But, this is what we got. So if you read it, let me know what your thoughts are. If you didn't read it and you listened to all of this, let me know if you're still interested in reading it. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I will catch you next time.